Hello, I'm Eric Moore, and this is Case 3-2, Volkswagen of America, Managing IT Priorities, presented by Group 1. The flow of this presentation will be as followed as its outline: general issues, main stakeholders, theory and concepts, symptoms and problems, alternatives and evaluation criteria, best solution and implementation plan, evaluation and review of the project, and current status update. The general issues of Volkswagen America managing IT priorities are as follow: prioritization of funds to most important projects, inadequate funds to fund all projects, unpredictable sales, elimination of IT knowledge, cut too deep, and then 28 employees of Volkswagen of America internal IT department were transferred to GDIS USA. Responsibility for managing IT was shared among multiple providers, with no single organizational entity in control of the overall process. The business units within Volkswagen America were increasingly concerned that IT expenses were on the rise and that IT projects seemed to be plagued with schedule and cost overruns. The main stakeholders include external stakeholders in orange, include consumers, government, analysis, equity holders, Perot systems, distributors, suppliers, and partners. Internal stakeholders are in blue, include internal executive leadership team, technology and organization, program management office, digital business council, IT steering committee, GDIS USA, and employees. Theories and concepts. Concepts include the next round of growth, enterprise and IT governance, enterprise goal ranking for project prioritization, strategy, business architecture, and performance. Capabilities include outsourcing of contracts, allocation of funds, strong decision-making criteria. The value will lead to increased revenues, stable infrastructure, optimized supply flow, effective project prioritization.
Hello, this is Goli. Today I'm going to talk about symptoms and problems of Volkswagen of America. Volkswagen had insufficient IT knowledge. This is because outsourcing IT services to external providers. And the current IT system could not operate optimally within the company, hardly administrated the outsourcing contracts and new e-business team set up in 1999. This is because of lack of internal IT staff, insufficient funds for Volkswagen of America, and because of the financial constraint, the IT expenses increased significantly. Many projects did not receive sufficient funds. This is also because of financial constraint, and they could not optimize the supply flow. The problem was they had only partially funded. The decision areas were reducing short-term IT cost, set up funding priorities for other activities, example sales, marketing, and stability of business infrastructure and effective prioritization.
Taking a look at our alternatives, we could choose to do nothing, which changes nothing to the current prioritization process. However, problems are not solved and many important projects are ignored. We could choose to implement the NRG program by bringing members of all different departments and organizational entities into the decision making process. This reduces arguments for the final decision, shows a high degree of transparency, as well as aligns strategy with enterprise goals. However, it causes less funding for individual business units projects, insufficient funding for the lowest ranked goal portfolios, and causes difficulty to consider the global level projects. We could also choose to input more efforts to remove redundancy in individual unit projects. This will help remove redundancy between projects from different departments, establishes long term prospects, reduces duplicate investments for projects that are similar, and increases the collaboration from different departments. However, this is cost and time consuming for educating employees, as well as time consuming to build a teamwork among the individual business units. We could also choose to select projects from the top priority profit contributors. This helps generate more gross margins, and you could also reinvest the profit into project funding. However, it ignores some critical and important projects, focuses only on the short term, and creates conflicts and disputes. The criteria we are basing these alternatives off of are based on their ability to meet the objectives of VW, to leverage IT to increase their market share and improve quality while working with a reduced budget.
So based on the analysis of three alternatives on last slide, we group 1 reached the conclusion that implementing the next round of growth program is the best solution. So the implementation plan can be divided into 3 phases. Phase 1 deals with calling for projects, communicating process, and identifying dependencies. During this phase, business units would have a chance to participate in a workshop where similar project ideas were identified. During phase 2, business units made formal project requests based on different types of investment and technologies. 3 types of investment here: stay in business, return on investment, option creating investment. And 3 technological application types here: base enterprise IT platform, enterprise application, and customized point solutions. Phase 3 deals with transforming business unit requests into enterprise goal portfolios. During this phase, all project proposals were converted from business unit focused project to an enterprise focused portfolio.
Hello, I'm Abner. I'm going to be talking to you about evaluation and review of the project. The IT project budget was capped at $60 million, while the proposed project budget totaled $210 million. The funding to IT projects was inadequate. This caused the business units to become very competitive in pushing their projects. An issue of the case was the process in which funds to IT projects were allocated. The distribution of the funding was decided by how much the project aligned with the company's goals. The system was not effective in prioritizing the projects. One of the most important projects, VWA, was underfunded because of the flawed system. The company also made an error in cutting their IT department after outsourcing it to Perot Systems. This reduced the company's IT knowledge. Then Volkswagen had a problem due to multiple providers with no single entity in control of the overall process. Volkswagen decisions were based on good ideas of reducing IT costs and prioritizing projects in order to fund the most important projects. The company should have made the IT budget larger. The $60 million was not enough. Also, the process in which they prioritized the IT project was flawed, and the new way of prioritizing projects needed to be created.
For quick updates related to the case, we found out that the global supply chain flow projects was not funded by Volkswagen America, but instead funded by Volkswagen Group since it was critical to the global strategy. Some projects did not get funded, but management agrees that the new criteria is a reasonable allocation of funds. Currently, Volkswagen America is working with Volkswagen Group to develop a global, universal platform to release the world's first all-market car. The goal is to optimize the platform to create a car that is small enough for the streets of Europe, with enough room for an American family, while meeting petroleum use expectations. IT has been integrated internationally to allow for smooth communication and a truly global platform. As of November 2012, Volkswagen of America sales volume has increased by 15% compared to the previous year, surpassing all of the US Big Three and most of the Asian car makers. It is only behind giants like BMW, Honda, Toyota, and Audi. For a quick update on the stock price, among 26 analysts offering 12-month price forecasts for Volkswagen America, have a median target of $54.35 US. The median estimate represents a 18% increase from the last price of $45.86. That will conclude our presentation. Thank you for listening.